director in South Carolina, and they sort of marry that customer service with technology. Instead of having people just standing behind a counter waiting for you to ask for a brochure or a question, they're walking around with iPads talking to people and saying, "Hey, so have you been to Brainerd lately? Have you been to Ely? What are you interested in?" And then they look it up on the iPad and then print something out or show them how to get that information on their own. One of the questions that has come up in terms of some of the state welcome centers that we have, it's something that it's a bit of a struggle for us to achieve because of the relationship with the Department of Transportation, but you can't get Wi-Fi in most of our welcome centers, which is just unbelievable. Really? No Wi-Fi? That's an obstacle that we're going to try to overcome. All right, 2 minutes, or one last question, and then if there's anything else that you have, we only have about 2 minutes left. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but there has been a lot of requests from Explore Minnesota to help with funding events, because there's a lot of big events coming to Minnesota, whether it's the Ryder Cup next year, whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's the Final Four, the college championship, and they all want dollars from the state. Well, I don't have a pot of money that I can give. So there's a discussion about, well, what if we created some sort of a program to assist with that? But here's the question: what help can a program like this provide for smaller communities? Because it isn't just about the bigger communities. So that's some of the interesting discussion we had. We had a lot of discussion with other communities about, do they need help with events? What kind of events do they need help with? I've heard issues about, like up in Detroit Lakes, where they don't necessarily need help with summer events. They have all the events that they can handle. Maybe during the shoulder seasons they need some help. Other communities said, we don't necessarily need funding, we need help with staffing. We love getting these events to our community. They put dollars in our communities, but how do we staff the events and fund the events? So those are some of the questions that we're trying to address. So do you have any preliminary thoughts about, is there a role for the state in terms of helping with events? No? Question? All right, so that's a comment. That's an answer.
How is your budget look?
Well, next year is the second year of the biennium. So anything that we would do would be something more along the lines of a special program like this. Our budget's set for the next 2 years. So we're looking good for the rest of this year, and then next fiscal year starting July 1. And I don't anticipate our budget would be changing other than if there was a special program. But then we have to start thinking about the next biennium. Anything else that we haven't touched on?
Mark, I was late, so you maybe touched on it. Any research as to vacationers, will they find out a lake is infested with AIS, they'll go elsewhere? Or do they seek knowledge that there's treatment, that's okay, any?
Well, we talked just generally about AIS, but in terms of, we haven't really talked about, we talked about it from a product perspective, but not from a customer communication perspective. And that is a big issue. How do you educate people from other states, or even from within the state, but not deter them from wanting to enjoy our waters? So we've done some work with the Department of Natural Resources, getting that information out, but not a lot.
I've often advocated that more research should be done in states that have become infested with AIS on the economic impacts, recreational and aesthetic impacts. But and part of me says maybe the research isn't done because the news is too bad, or maybe the research hasn't been done because it hasn't greatly impacted tourism or whatever. And it'd be nice to know.
It'd be nice to know.
All right, anything else? I see we're out of time here. Yes?
Sure. Thank you, John. Just so you know, both Dave and myself are appointed to the Governor's Council, Explore Minnesota, and the Council on Tourism. So if you have any suggestions outside of today, you can tell either one of us, and we can bring it to the council.
All right, well, look for the survey, it's gonna be coming out in a couple of weeks, and if you have any other thoughts or comments, please, let me know. This was a great turn. I was expecting maybe to have 3 people in the room. But this is really great, because I really wanted to get that input specifically on this industry sector, on how we grow travel and tourism. So, thank you all very much, and have a great rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.